Jeff Duncan is joining us here on Off the Bench. Jeff, thank you for the time. Hopefully everything is happy and safe right now with everything with your family down in New Orleans.
Yeah, guys, it's Groundhog Day, right? I mean, it feels like we're in this world where, nothing changes and everyone's just trying to stay safe and sane. And I think the latter is a little harder right now than staying safe.
The book, Payton and Brees, set to come out in October. Tell me a little bit about what went into to authoring this.
Well, as you guys know, I mean, Sean and Drew both came out with books after the Super Bowl in 2009, right about the 2010 release. So it's been basically a decade since anyone's written anything of depth on either of those two iconic figures in New Orleans sports history, Louisiana sports history, and NFL history. And, a lot's happened since then. This offense has taken off to another level, I think. And I really wanted to document not only what makes each of those two individuals great at what they do, but also try to get into their relationship, their partnership, which is very unique for two men to be together in the NFL for 15 years now. You just don't see that. That's a rarity for them to continue to evolve along the way, and also really pull back the curtain on what goes into a game plan with the New Orleans Saints on Monday to Sunday. And that was the most fascinating part for me, learning how the sausage is made and what makes the Saints offense what it is. And I make the argument in the book that it's the greatest offense in NFL history. It's lasted longer than, say, the great Coryell, Chargers attack, or the Walsh Montana 49ers. The greatest show on turf was about a 4 or 5 year blip on the radar screen. This offense has done it now for a decade and a half, and that's pretty remarkable.
Fascinated to read about what went into the game planning week in, week out with these two, and just how obsessive they were. What did you learn about their relationship, Payton and Brees?
Well, it's pretty unique. I think they're certainly much closer than, say, Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. Now, there's still a line. There's still a clear delineation between coach and player. And Drew has said he thinks they'll be much closer when he retires, and that line is removed. There has to be somewhat of a chain of command, obviously. But as far as quarterback and play caller, I don't think there's any combination in the history of the NFL that's been like Brees and Payton. It's a unique dynamic to begin with. If you really think about it, the elite quarterbacks that have played in the NFL, none of them have ever played for a head coach that was also a quarterback. It just hasn't happened. And I think that unique position that Sean Payton comes from, the viewpoint he takes in putting together a game plan, he sees the game through the eyes of a quarterback. And Luke McCown told me this. He said, no player that I ever played with in my career, no quarterback ever looked at the game like a coach the way Drew Brees does, and no coach ever looked at the game like a quarterback the way Sean Payton does. And I think that's unique, very unique.
That's a great quote right there from Luke. How did you get this access, Jeff? How did you get to see how the sausage is made?
Well, I begged T-Bob.
All it takes is like 3 decades.
I know the strategy. I know the strategy well. I know the strategy well.
Well, I will say this. It was only going to be as good as the access I got, and I was granted a lot of time with both Payton and Brees and the offensive coaching staff, and I mean, gratitude for that, because it could only be told through, their time and sitting down. But what really struck me, guys, is just the investment that the coaches put in, the players, especially Brees. I think that's one of the things that separates him. I think when fans read the book, they're really going to come to appreciate what he puts into a game plan every week. And I've said this before, and I've certainly learned this in the reporting process on the book. When Drew hangs it up, when he eventually does, it's not going to be because the physical. It's going to be because of the mental. The workload that he puts into a game plan Monday to Sunday to get ready for a game is remarkable. It's astonishing how much time he puts in, and player after player, coach after coach, that I interviewed, that's what stood out to them about Drew Brees. It's not necessarily the historic accuracy, the leadership, all these other qualities. It's the mental stamina that he has and Sean Payton has, and those two. That's why they align so well. If one of them wasn't putting and investing the same amount of mental energy into the week, I don't think it would work. But they both have such great respect for each other because they know they come from the same platform and foundation of time and energy put into the game plan, and it's remarkable. It's the most astonishing thing, and I really believe that's what separates the Saints from everyone else in the league. It's just the amount of time and energy they put into a game.
Yeah, mental stamina is something that I didn't think we think about a lot, but obviously you are correct. Is this Drew Brees' final year?
No, I do not believe. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't think anybody knows. I don't think anybody knows T-Bob. I don't think Drew knows. He said over and over that he will take it 1 year at a time, and I believe he's being honest on that. I think he has a process and a routine he goes through, plays the season, gets away for a bit with his family, with Brittany and his close circle, and he evaluates it. And I think he will do that again this offseason. And Sean Payton said as much the other day when we talked to him. He basically said, look, if Drew Brees wants to come back, he's going to have a place with us and a place on this roster, and he always will. And so I don't think that's changed any. I think Sean kind of jumped the gun, as we all are prone to do sometimes on live media.
Yeah.
And, I do think this, though. I know there's a lot of opportunities for him out there in the world of media. TV networks have already started talking to his representatives. There's huge offers on the table. This is a time in that world where he is a high demand. There's not really, other than Tony Romo, someone out there that stands out as a color analyst, and Drew Brees can procure a huge 8-figure deal right away. And I think he's probably performing that calculus in his head, right? Do I want to play football for $25 million a year at this age and put everything into it, or do I want to call games for $10 million a year and spend more time with my family?
Yeah. You can pre-order your copy now. Payton and Brees, the men who built the greatest offense in NFL history, which is scheduled to be released in October. Hopefully we can make a push like we did with The Last Dance, the documentary for the Bulls, to see if we can get the release date moved up with the possibility of no football season, Jeff. But this looks like a great read. I've already pre-ordered mine. Thank you for stopping by this morning.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Stay safe and sane, and look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thanks so much, Jeff.
There he is, author Jeff Duncan. He's also a columnist. Was with NOLA.com, now a part of The Athletic and their crew over there. But Payton and Brees, the men who built the greatest offense in NFL history, set to come out in October of 2020. There he was, just talking about the work that went into authoring that book.